Welcome back to the Detailing Bay. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at wet sanding. So we've got an honest bonnet in front of us here, straight off an everyday car that's seen some hand car washes in its life.
Definitely a few key marks.
Yeah, and we're going to hopefully show the DIY user how you'd approach taking them out with wet sanding. Yes. It's a bit of a scary subject because you're taking a layer of the lacquer off. Yeah. But what's the safest way to go about it?
Well, I think the approach that I say to people is you're either really ballsy, if you like, and you know you just want to take that gamble, or the other one is when people are considering getting it repainted. So I always say for the cost involved in having a go, it's worth it because it'll pan out usually. Yeah. But if you get it wrong, you were going to get it painted.
There's always
anyway.
that dreaded thing that if you're sanding and then you look and you've got colour on your pad, you've gone far too far. Yeah. There's no going back at that point.
There is no going back. But, you know, it is definitely a next step up in detail. It's above that enthusiast level. So the approaches you can go from is you'll never know the history of your paint. So if you're just going to go at it from looks and take it very gentle, that's kind of the approach I'd say. I wouldn't be absolutely hammering it with the heaviest grits. Yeah. Go quite gentle with it. Be very, very mindful of any swage lines, corners, edges, anything like that where it's going to be slightly thinner. The next level is like your standard paint depth gauges that are budget friendly, but they will measure the overall depth. They won't take the clear into consideration. It's everything.
So it kind of reduces the risk a little bit.
It does, but
still not bulletproof.
Yeah, because you still don't know. You know, you could have just 5 microns of clear and 30-40 of base and so on. So what you can do is go to somewhere where it's going to be its finished, say a door shut, measure that first, then measure the bonnet. You're going to have a slight difference. It's going to give you a slight indication to how much clear you've got to play with. And then the next level is what you get your detailers using is the Positec, where it breaks down the individual layers. So you know exactly of each layer what you've got to play with. And you've got to keep stopping, checking, going, seeing what you've got, and that is the safest approach.
Right. But if you haven't got the equipment or the knowledge, you can still tackle it. You've just got to be
got to be mindful of the risks. Yeah.
Like you say, if it's a deep scratch as well, and it may even need paint, then you've not got a lot to lose.
That's why I would say you've got the cost of a few discs, and I know a lot of people success stories where they've done that. They thought it was going for paint, they've done it, and they're over the moon. It cost them £30 in product, and it's fixed all the problems because not everybody knows when they look at something if it can or can't be taken out. Normally, rule of thumb is if you can kind of get your nail in there, then likelihood it possibly is too deep, but you would only know that by playing with it. You can see somewhere you can just absolutely see, you know, it's so far in, it isn't, and it's knowing that really.
There are other reasons you'd wet sand a car as well, but we won't go into those today. But that's like even on brand new paint when you get highs and lows, and you'll see that orange peel effect, and you can correct that. Yeah. And that smoother that substrate, obviously the better the gloss.
Yeah, absolutely.
But today's episode is more about repair.
Yeah, well, we'll do a 50-50, and what you'll see is some texture reduction as well on the 50-50. But like I said, that's not our aim, but it's going to be a byproduct of that.
Right, so what are the basics that you'll need?
So you need your sanding discs. So we're using the 3M Trizact. I'm going to use the 3-inch ones on this. They also do it in 6-inch as well. It does depend on the panel you're working on. Here, it's just going to be a lot neater and tidier just to do it. And when I'm doing a car and it's just your average saloon or something like that, and you're normally going to have some form of swage lines or something like that, the 3-inch does make it a lot easier to control where you're working up to. If you move to a roof, nice big panel, I'd use the 6-inch.
You're going to get a bit bored, aren't you?
You are. It's just going to take too long, and what you don't want to do is you want it to be so even that if you go too small on too big an area, it's that consistency and that time as you're going along. It carries that extra risk. So if you go to 6-inch, it just keeps the process nice and smooth.
So we've got our pads, we need some water. Do we need to be inside? Ideally, yes, don't we? Because
every process would always be better inside, but if you want to do it outside, then you just have to accept the risk, the environmental factors, everything else. Yeah. It's all going to work outside.
It's just if you get a little bit of grit in your pad.
Yeah.
Or,
it's the same as polishing, washing, anything. it would always be better indoors, but you know, not everybody has got a really fancy unit or a studio and so on. So it's assess the environment. You can get pop-up tents, things like that as well, that I do recommend to some people. So yeah, just, you know, have a look at the environment, and if it's really windy, all the rest of it, maybe not so much.
Shall we tape a bit off then? Are we going to do a section?
Yeah, we'll tape a bit off.
We'll get some close-ups of the scratch marks that are here.
It's always hard to, what the eye can see and getting it across on camera, but like obviously as we're looking down now, you've got the typical swirls, you've got like a few key marks going across there. There is texture in there as well, and if we do a nice solid 50-50, which I wouldn't recommend doing if you're just doing your own car, because trying to get that other side to marry, you always, you know, you make it work for yourself. But for us, it's a demo. We'll put a tape out, and that way the camera should be able to pick up a lot more than what our eye can see, and the viewers can see that then, the impact it has.
Tape then. Where do you want to go?
Let's go in line with that and go straight across there.
So we're all taped up.
Yep.
Let's get cracking, show us how to do it.
Cool. Right, so we've got the machine. Very straightforward. Just try and get it as central as you can. A little bit on there. And then. So we just want to keep it at a nice steady speed. Nice, easy passes. Right, so just grab a cloth. I've got a little OTT on the water on that one. It's not the end of the world, but it does make it a little bit messier.
Better safe than sorry though.
Yeah, and then what you'll see when that water dries out is quite a flat. Stayed away from the edges, and I don't want to get too close to the tape because it will just start to lift the tape.
Yeah, that is what you're looking for though, isn't it? You can see it is nice and flat now.
Yeah.
Right, so that's first pass. Looks pretty flat to me.
Yeah.
Are you tempted to just try and buff that straight out, or is it just worth going with the next one?
So you could do, but while we're here, we made the example of getting the best from not a lot more effort, because you could go again. Me looking at it, if I was going for absolute concourse, I'd be just nibbing over it again, just a little bit, but that's probably going a stage too far for someone who just wants to improve the appearance and get some scratches out. So what we'll do now is we'll follow it up with 6,000. May as well, while we're here, just get that little bit extra out of it.
So with 6,000, we're going to be taking out the 3,000 grip marks.
Give me a squirt, a little bit less water this time. I got a bit overexcited. Perfect. And again, slowest speed, nice and steady. Once all the water fully leaves it, you'll have a nice even clouding. You can see it coming through now.
You happy with that?
Yeah.
So what kind of compound and machine are you going to use to bring that back then?
Any sort of heavy cut really, you can diminishing, non-diminishing, whatever your preferred compound is. Massive fan of Menzerner. 400 does a fantastic job every time. It's always my go-to. So
that's the sanding part done.
Yep.
Time to switch machine.
Yes.
Get the cutting pad on.
That's 6V2. Keep it nice and simple.
What pad have we gone for? Menzerner?
Menzerner heavy cut pad, and we use the heavy cut compound with it. Prime the pad. Do you want to do your smiley face, or you?
No, we'll keep it professional.
As always, new pad. Just give it a little bit of priming. And then just a couple. We're not doing a large area, so we don't need to overly do it. And as always, start on speed 1. Just get it pushed out. that off.
Yeah, we're going to say use a nice plush towel.
And we should see that gloss. There'll probably be a slight outer ring where I've just not fully gone up to the edge there, which you see coming through.
Scratches gone.
Scratches are gone. There's less texture. Just follow it up with a final finish. But as you can see under the light on it, there is no sanding marks left. It's nice and steady. There's just, you can't see it on camera, there's just a touch of haze in there.
Yeah.
But this is that thing again of what, if your eye can see it or not. This out in normal daylight would look so, so good. But we can see slight hazing, and we'll just follow that up now with a finishing compound and just give it that bit of gloss. Yep.
So super finish 3800.
Yep. The finishing pad, which is the green one from Manzana, work really well together. And we only need a touch. The pad's already primed, and knowing me, I'll probably put too much on. So we'll just go for a few little dots of it, which will be more than enough. Exactly the same process as before. I've done all the work.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And then you can see it already. It's the extra bit of richness coming through.
Yeah, like you were saying about that haziness, that's gone now.
Haziness has gone.
Yeah.
Obviously ignore just the edge in there. I'd focus on that separately, just with how close to the edge it is.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll take the tape off in a sec, but considering what we had to what we've got now,
it's gone. And you can see, I hope the camera can pick up on it, because as you look, as the light hits it, there is a massive reduction in texture as well. Yeah. There's definitely still some in there, but it's a whole different level, well beyond what you'd have got from factory.
Yeah. So we'll just give this a little wipe down, bit of control cleaner, just to help lift it. Wow, I don't think camera will have a problem picking up the difference in that, to be fair.
No.
When you look from this side, that's night and day, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can see the texture reduction. Obviously all defects that were there have gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that finish is perfect.
Pretty much spot on. So yeah, tempted to do the rest at bonnet now, even though it's only a test panel.
I know, yeah, you just want to move on, go
my
away.
OCD's kicked in now, I just want to finish it.
Yeah.
So I hope that's taken a little bit of the complication out of wet sanding for you. We'll be putting links to all the products we've used in the description below, so give us a comment, thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next video.